here we are again on Prayer Mountain. We've got the ATR3350 on the shirt, and we're talking as softly as possible. With the camera this far away, it's very hard to tell how softly to talk or how loud to talk. And also, with the amount of lighting we've got up here, everything is completely black. You wouldn't see if someone was sneaking up on you. So, this is the quietest place that we have to test the microphone. And the wind is howling. I don't know if you can hear it, but it is really blowing up here, like it always does. But the windscreen is on. And as you can see from this camera angle, the view is quite spectacular. The lav mic is connected to the preamp, and the preamp is connected through a 20-foot cable to the Zoom H2. And it's capturing a very clean signal, hopefully without any wind, and hopefully we're making eye contact with the camera because the viewfinder has information where our eyes go, so we have no idea where we're looking. One of the nice things about this microphone is that I can talk as softly as possible, and it's still going to come in loud and clear. So even though it's embarrassingly quiet talking, I know that it's coming in very loud. And the meter is going all the way up to 6 dB. There are no animals up here, except for some lions. And looking at the viewfinder, the lions haven't shaved. After the last video of this mic, we played it back and compared the noise level tests with the homemade lav mic, and the homemade lav mic had much less noise than this one. It did seem to be the frequency response, but it actually seemed to be the actual noise floor. We just got a much quieter signal from the homemade lav mic. So the debate is whether we should just use the homemade one and EQ more high end out of it, or stick with the Audio-Technica. And that's why we're doing this test now, because this will show if the noise level is acceptable. Because I can tell you, the homemade lav mic could pick up the grasshoppers very easily, and it could also pick up the freeway. This mic can't pick up a thing, it just picks up hiss. The main problem with the homemade one is any contact between the alligator clip and skin is going to cause a lot of noise. It's going to cause a lot of electrical noise. And also we don't have a windscreen that fits it. The windscreen on the Audio-Technica is not big enough for it, so we'd have to look into finding a bigger windscreen. Climbing Prayer Mountain to do these videos is always a workout, and we always end up sweating like the Nile River up here, just in time for the videos. And if we bring a jacket, it always ends up feeling too hot. So today we didn't bring the jacket, and now it's damn cold. It is just way too cold to be doing this video. So let's talk about Prayer Mountain. This is Prayer Mountain, where we are now. It's about a mile away from the apartment on foot, and there's no development anywhere at the same elevation, although it's quite crowded. A few hundred feet either way from here, it's very crowded, but it's all at a lower elevation. If I started shouting now, then people would definitely hear it, because this is a standing position and we can look over and see into all the houses. Anyway, we come to Prayer Mountain because religion has been right every single time except once. So religion had just the one big failure, but we're happy to report it does have one success, and that is to satisfy ourselves that we live under mortal constraints. And because of our mortal constraints, what can be possible is never what actually is possible. There's nothing like a woman who says she's stronger than ever. Unfortunately, there aren't enough women like that to go around. So we can be satisfied that we'll never have a partner who can scamper around like us, and who can climb hills, and who can run 13 miles. Because although such things are possible, because it's a mortal world, it doesn't mean they are possible. It means the only realistic partner for us is always going to be too tired to scamper around like us, and to climb hills, and to run 13 miles. And if we didn't have the reassurance that this is one of the prices of mortality, it would be rather depressing to know that something was possible and we weren't achieving it. reading about divorces, reading about knowing a way of life for 15 years, and then suddenly having to disconnect from it, and suddenly realizing those 15 years never happened. That's a difficult experience. There's no point in my past that never happened. I never had to go through a divorce. I never had to break up with a partner who I really regretted knowing. Every memory, every year of my past is a year that happened. But for these divorced couples, they have no past. Their past never happened. And it got me thinking about religion again. I was filling out the soulmate change request form, and religion came back with the response that you didn't fall in love 2 years ago. You were always in love. You've been in love for 25 years. You just didn't know who she was. You were in love with her 25 years ago, when your best friend was the military aviation fan with the blonde hair. You were in love with her in 1991, when you spent a lot of time near Evans Street. And you were in love with her in 1995, when you met the first Air Force ROTC heroine. You were in love with her in 1999, when you registered heroinwarrior.com and you started getting interested in the idea of heroin warriors. And then you were in love with her in 2001, when you learned about Joan of Arc and you thought a heroine in shining armor was the ideal. And you were still in love with her in 2009, when you wished for that Air Force heroine to come back. It's not a matter of undoing just 2 years. It's a matter of undoing almost your entire life. And that's when it occurred to me that that's just like a divorce. To request a soulmate change, you have to undo 25 years of your past. And the only way you can get by is just by satisfying yourself that it's a consequence of mortality. Just because the world can be a certain way doesn't mean it is a certain way.